There's no right or wrong way to consume makeup, and I think we all know that in our core. But when you're on social media, it feels like you're seeing the extremes, and it feels very black and white. Like if we take it back to 2016 YouTube and are looking at the popularity of hauls and beauty room tours, it felt more like you were sitting at the foot of your rich friend's canopy bed while they're sharing their bounty and you're oohing and awing. At its best, it was a feeling of shared excitement and almost an extension of girlhood. And at its worst, it just contributed to a simmering feeling of inferiority. There was something about the people on this platform though where they felt unrelatable enough to me that I didn't feel that jealousy. They were all either older than me and had actual jobs, or were just clearly rich teens, and we were just obviously living very different lives. Especially these beauty creators with like multiple Alex doors full of free products. Now looking at beauty content on TikTok, it feels like everyone is hauling because TikTok has democratized content creation so much, which is amazing, but it also feels like everyone is an influencer, and if everyone's an influencer, it feels like those behaviors are normal. If you have a beauty focus For You page, you're constantly scrolling through a lot of product-focused content because really that's what's catching on in the algorithm. Very few people these days are watching tutorials or content featuring older products. So you're constantly seeing this product life cycle of big creators getting sent products at launch and going, this is so amazing, you have to buy it. And then mid-sized creators and smaller getting the products after launch and reviewing it. And then there's the roundup type content featuring all of the most hyped products, and creators are letting you know if it's worth it or not. And then you just repeat it with the next class of viral products. So there's this constant stream of must-have products, and the potential for FOMO is so high because it really feels like everyone has the same thing at the same time. I also feel like the constant scroll of TikTok homogenizes creators' voices in a space, and it just feels like everyone is shouting the same thing at you. There's just less time for a personal connection like there is on YouTube, which TikTok likes because they want you to keep coming back for content in general and not really for a specific creator. But this creates a lack of context because when I'm not following people, I have no idea, is this haul out of the ordinary for them? Is this like the one time out of the year where they're buying this many products, or is this a regular occurrence? It just blends in with all the other hauls and roundups. Now it feels like we've hit a turning point with how we approach consumerism in the beauty space, and there's a larger amount of people advocating for conscious consumerism and even minimalism. And I think this makes sense because the pendulum has been swinging so far the other way for like nearly a decade. And I just feel like we are all collectively burnt out on hyper-consumerism. And I feel like there are a couple reasons why this is. One is I feel like if you bought into the hype at one point and bought a lot of makeup at once, and this was me in 2018, I feel like you've hit a critical mass in your collection where it just doesn't make sense to keep adding things. It just gets harder and harder to justify buying more because you're watching your collection grow faster than you're able to enjoy it. And once you hit that point of feeling overwhelmed or even uncomfortable with the size of your collection, for me it was like a veil was lifted, and suddenly when looking at new releases I could see that this is just same but different, and I already have this, and it kind of quelled that urge to buy. Also, many people just stopped wearing makeup in 2020 or drastically reduced the amount of products they were wearing every day. When a lot of us lost their routine of going to the office or hang out with friends, there wasn't that trigger, I guess, to get ready to go out. And so a lot of our makeup collection sat unused. And some people just haven't returned to that because they realize that they're perfectly fine having a smaller collection and having a bunch of products that they know really well. And then of course there's the rising cost of makeup. When brands raised prices at the beginning of the pandemic, I feel like it started a shift in consumer behavior, and especially how we viewed makeup pricing and talked about it. Because if you're going to be raising these prices, we want to make extra sure that these products are worth the increased costs. I love this because I love anything that promotes being more conscious of how we spend our money. And this made dupe content and anti-hauls and de-influencing videos more mainstream. You saw bigger creators joining in on these trends. So now let's talk a little bit about anti-hauls because I love these, but I also have some kind of nitpicks with them. I know not all anti-hauls are like this, and I think it's really due to the algorithm trying to get people's attention, but I feel a lot of thumbnails are like, you don't need another blush. This isn't gonna fill the hole inside of you. And it just feels a little negative when I think that anti-hauls were born of a need to return to a critical approach to makeup reviews, which is where makeup reviews started. It was much more, hey, here's what's good and here's what's bad. But once buttloads of PR and brand ships got involved, it got so much harder to parse what was actually genuine and what people were just saying to remain on brand lists. And now there's a swing towards hypercritical commentary of makeup products, which I enjoy to a point. Sometimes anti-consumerism content or discussions feel moralistic. It feels like there is a set amount of makeup that is appropriate to have in your collection, and anyone who has more than that is needing to be shamed. Like, do you really need another blush? When it's like, dude, I don't know, what does need mean regarding makeup? If you like doing a full face, you don't need more than one product in each category, but you might want to. Some people like having more, and that's okay. I know it's just a quippy thing to say, and it's really not that serious, but there are just a couple of comments I've seen online that have stuck in my head of people feeling bad or almost guilty for buying makeup, like buying a lip gloss when they already had 3, or saying, I should have less blush in my collection. And only they know their circumstances and how they feel, but I just hate to think of anyone feeling bad about the size of their collection that they're actually enjoying. And of course, I'm not talking about people who have shopping addictions or are going into debt over makeup. And maybe this like tough love anti-consumerism content is really for those people. But I also feel like even the current Sephora sale conversation is more negative than usual. I'm all for calling out like, hey, you don't have to shop every sale, because I definitely had that mindset before. But I feel like it's missing some nuance. The Sephora sale isn't the worst sale, and it's definitely not the best sale. It just all depends on your circumstances and what you're looking to buy. Like, of course, you could buy on the brand's website and maybe they have a little higher discount. But if you're only buying one item and you're not going to hit that free shipping, then just make sure to double check if it's still going to be a better deal. I personally love this time of year, even if I don't buy a single thing, because I feel like the beauty community is at its most active. There are so many people, from influencers to just regular consumers, who are sharing their recommendations and their hauls, and it's just such a joyful and exciting time. Are there people posting links to Chillhop products that they don't even use? Absolutely, but I'm not here for those people. I'm here to see the person who bought their first Pat McGrath palette and is sharing swatches that have blown their mind. Or I'm geeking out in the comments of someone's haul that includes my favorite blush shade that I know that they're gonna love. It's just a really fun time, and I know some people wait all year to shop just during these sales, and I think as long as you're shopping with intention, we should all just enjoy it and have fun. I do feel like some of this divide could come down to the way different people engage with makeup. In my head, there are 3 main types of makeup buyers. There are utilitarians who like makeup, they like feeling put together, and their dream is to just have a holy grail routine of products that they know work for them, and then not really have to follow makeup news that much. They could probably fit all of their makeup in one pouch. Then there are hobbyists, which I fall under. People in this category may enjoy doing the same kind of look, but like the variety of switching up their products, or they like to experiment and want to have a wide range of products available that they can choose from depending on the look they're going for. Either way, they're more likely to stay up to date on makeup releases and have multiple products in each category. And then there are collectors / professionals. These are influencers with their enormous rooms full of every shade of every product, or they're collectors who enjoy the aesthetics of the product as well as the application. Their collection is like a library to them and something to be appreciated and enjoyed even when they're not putting it on their face. So there are just so many ways to engage with makeup, and it's personal for everybody, and it can also change. I'm currently a hobbyist, but I feel like I appreciate my makeup like a collector. There are some weeks where I don't wear makeup, but I will just sit and swatch my products, or even literally just look at them, and it brings me so much joy. I truly think that even if I never put my makeup on my face, it would not be a waste, because there are so many ways to appreciate it, and I think that's what anti-consumerism is. It's appreciating what you have in whatever way that is. Because I feel that it's through that appreciation, there's less room for the noise of the new to break through. Like, even if I'm keeping up with new makeup releases, they're not catching my eye as much because I'm appreciating my collection and I'm aware of what I have. And I think that's why I haven't bought new makeup in 9 months, not because I specifically set out to do that, but because I'm currently satisfied, or at least satisfied enough to wait for a discount before buying anything new. So I just wanted to share a couple tips that might help improve your relationship with makeup consumerism. These have helped me a lot within the last year. First up, if you have TikTok, delete it, or at least take it off of your phone. I only have it on my computer right now, and it has made such a big difference in my screen time. I have ADHD, so TikTok is like perfectly made to capture my attention for hours at a time. So I simply cannot have it on my phone. When it's on my computer, it is somehow less fun, and I only scroll for a couple minutes. The only reason I keep it is because there's a lot of good swatching and product reviewing or demoing, and if I want to know something about a specific product, I'll just search it, get what I need, and then get out. But I do very little scrolling these days on TikTok, which feels amazing. I know a big draw of TikTok is that it feels like that's where the beauty community is right now, but I would consider exploring different communities. There are so many great niche subreddits on Reddit. I'll put up some of my favorites, and there is so much amazing discussion going on about reviews and techniques, swatches, discussing collections, aesthetics, what vibe are we going for this season. If you miss makeup blogs and text-based makeup discussion, I would definitely recommend checking these out. I also weirdly like Lemon 8 for inspiration. I feel like I never hear anyone talking about this. I mean, the UI and experience is just like really bad, so I never stay on it for too long. But there's a lot of great like pictorials that people are doing there because it's just like photos that you slide through. And they also have short form video content, but I don't look at that. There's also really useful swatches on there as well. And because it's designed so poorly, it really doesn't suck up that much of my time. I think it's underrated. Lastly, I would recommend keeping a white whale note. If you're trying to get away from being so focused in on like brands and viral products, keep a list of what kind of product it is that you're looking for. Like a cream bronzer stick with yellow undertones that isn't too dewy. That's pretty freaking specific and is gonna help you feel more intentional about your purchases and help you focus during sales when you're navigating recommendations. I personally have a note going for Black Friday because otherwise I will end up with an overstuffed cart and no direction on how to cull it down. It also makes it feel like you're on a little treasure hunt, and it feels so good when you finally find something and can remove it from your list. Basically, I think we're all just trying to do our best before we turn into dust. It is so hard navigating consumerism, especially on social media and especially in the beauty industry. I know we want to be mindful about our purchases and also what's really influencing them, but I hope we're also not being too hard on ourselves. Brands want our money, influencers want our money, and we just want a little joy in return, or at least a purple blush that actually looks purple on our skin. And you know, I've never thought that much about my eye color, but I have this eyeshadow that when I put it on, it was like I was seeing my eyes for the first time, and they looked so beautiful to me. So I just think that makeup can be pretty magical. And I'm hoping to continue to be conscious about how I consume it here and also just have a whole lot of fun. So if that sounds good to you, I would love it if you subscribed and hung out with me again in my next video.